All right. Next section. Criminal justice. President Biden is committed to rehabilitation and re-entry for police returning to their communities and after incarceration, and to building a community justice that lives up to the ideals and ensures that everyone receives the equal justice on the law. That's why he's taking historical steps and makes his promises a reality. No one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. You could cannabis. There's a reason they chose this kind of word, um, if I remember correctly, because this is a Latin rooted word, and so Richard Nixon used this word specifically in his policies on his during his war on drugs, so that people would associate marijuana with brown people. That's the whole choice of using this word marijuana instead of weed, pot, or cannabis. I see we're continuing that tradition now. Anyway, or accidentally continuing this tradition. But it's has Biden actually decriminalized weed? Isn't weed federally still a level to control substance? He can do that. He can easily do that. He might lose votes for police officers as a voting bloc, but that's a simple, easy, basic thing that he or Kamala Harris can do. Well, Kamala Harris is vice president. I'm not sure she can do that right now. Biden couldn't do that, but I don't remember hearing of Biden doing that. Continuing on. Sending people to prison for possession and has upended too many lives and incarcerated people for a conduct that many states no longer prohibit. These criminal records impose needless barriers to employment, housing, education opportunities, disproportionately affecting black and brown people. President Biden took historical actions to end his failed approach by patronizing pardoning people convicted federally of using or possessing marijuana. He's called on governors to use their pardon power to do the same at state level offices, and his administration is taking a major step to reschedule cannabis, so it's no longer classified as more dangerous than fentanyl and methamphetamine. So why hasn't he done that yet? Why hasn't he done that in the last 4 years? I guess it's just not a priority to him. But just so he admitted his own policy. Oh no, it says this failed approach. I thought this said his failed approach. I thought that this document was admitting that Biden's 1994 crime bill and the Democrats' policies of being tough on crime failed. All it did is just imprison black and brown people more. And yeah, being tough on crime, and they put up the barriers for someone who's been criminalized, barriers to employment, barriers to housing, barriers to education. If someone that you know, like a cousin or a son or a family member of some kind, and is a convicted felon, or is on parole, and he is staying at your house. If he's on parole but staying at your house because he has no place to go, then you are aiding and abetting a criminal. And then your entire family or the people who owns an apartment or rents an apartment can go to jail. So that's sort of policies. That's what tears up communities. Because once you get arrested for a felony or a crime of some kind like this, a serious enough crime, you're just out of society, cut out of society, almost no chance of rehabilitation. Then that's why also many people reoffend, because when they are denied access to food, denied access to food stamps, denied access to government services, denied access to college, denied access to housing, denied access to shelters as well to public counseling or anything like that, denied access to employment. What other fucking choices do they have in order to feed themselves or feed their families other than going back to crime? So yeah, they won't admit that their own policies was a failed approach. And I want do I want to? Yeah, I think I'm gonna mention this now. Yeah. Biden's. I'm sure Biden's urging other state and local officials in order to do the same thing. I know that in Washington State, in 2020, in one of the many people that were running for president for 2020 and Democratic ticket was the governor Jay Inslee. He's the governor of Washington State. No longer. He's got he's not running for election. He's not running. So it's it's open thing right now for governor of the Washington State. It's most often been Democrats though. And yeah, his campaign really did not go anywhere at all. He was his focus was climate change and climate. He just cannot get any traction whatsoever. But in 2020, Jay Inslee pardoned several people that their only crime and the only reason they were in jail was because of possession of weed, cannabis. But if they had other violent crimes, they were not going to get pardoned. So Jay Inslee pardoned a lot of people because in Washington State, weed has been legal. I'm going to confirm the dates of when weeds got legal in Washington State, because I'm pretty sure that Jay Inslee pardoned a bunch of people who were in jail on possession for weed 6 years after weed became legal in Washington State. I understand him waiting a year because there was still such uncertainty if the federal government is going to inflict their policies onto weed, because there's still a lot of restrictions on weed on the federal level, and states can't really control that. States can only control their state level, and they were wondering if the federal government's going to come in and impose their laws and rules on the state government in Washington State and Colorado when states started to decriminalize weed and cannabis. So I understand Jay Inslee not doing it instantly once that law passed and cannabis was legal in Washington State. I understand him waiting a year to pardon people who were in jail for possession of weed. But why did he wait 6 years to do it? He pardoned a bunch of people, like Biden suggested, in 2020 when he was running for president. He did it as a PR stunt. That's why I don't fucking trust politicians. Especially career ones, like Biden and Harris. Unfortunately, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, is poisoning herself to be a career politician as well, too. With the speech he gave at DNC, people are kind of noting that as that's kind of Barack Obama's speech. And yeah, Barack Obama did give a really good speech at the DNC one year, and then he ran for president the next opportunity again. When it's probably the next presidential election, honestly. If he probably gave that speech in 2004 and then he ran for president in 2008, then he got the president. Continue on. President Biden has released a comprehensive strategy to improve the criminal justice system and strengthen public safety, including more than 100 concrete actions. The administration is improving retaliation in jails and prisons, helping people rebuild their lives, and important step in reducing recidivism. So wait, they acknowledge that imprisonment is put up needless barriers. They say it's needless barriers of employment, housing, and education opportunities. So what they're going to do about that sort of thing? It's because of those barriers, those needless barriers, that cause recidivism. Anyway, it has invested nearly $1 billion in job training, addiction recovery, and re-entry services across the country. Expanded access to Pell Grants, so people can earn a college degree while they're incarcerated, starting over with new skills. Fortunately, a lot of people kind of learn new skills while they're in prison. Usually, it's out to foreign gangs or keeping gangs or that sort of thing too, or how to be better at doing other crimes. That's honestly, or how to join an Aryan Brotherhood if they're white. No, that's what a lot of people actually learn. Now, it's great if the Pell Grants does give people college degrees while being incarcerated as well too. I hope they are able to be employed if they're a convicted felon. Because yeah, a lot of people get calls from the Democratic Party or Republican Party during this year because it's the election, or the party, I should say, it's the Party, because of the election. Some people just happen to be apolitical, and that's what it is. So if they don't want to take questions or be part of a survey when talking about politics or elections as well too, some people just say, "I'm a felon." So that gets those phone calls to stop immediately, or at least that phone call stop immediately. Hey, I want to talk to you about the issues that are affecting like voters in this election. I'm a felon. They're not going to take the. They're not going to talk to felons on the phone when talk about policies or elections or how they feel about elections because felons can't vote. Some states felons can. Some states and felons can get their rights to vote again back as well too. But sometimes it's a super long process as well too. And sometimes you can just get denied. Anyway, continuing. The administration will keep investing in housing, mentorships, job training, and apprenticeship programs as well. It is working to end the school to prison pipeline by like reissuing like guidance for the Departments of Education and Justice to prevent the desperate dispirited discipline of children of color and with disabilities, and incentivizing states to develop community-based alternatives to prisons for young people. They haven't mentioned about police officers in school, so like that's kind of actually hopeful that they're not mentioning that, because that's part of the big reason for the school to prison pipeline police officers in school, but also poverty, because and President Biden reestablishes the Justice Department standalone office of access to justice to ensure that everyone can get legal assistance. Yeah, because you have a right to an attorney. That is Miranda right. You should have the right to an attorney. President Biden has like used his pardon power to like right historical wrongs. In addition to like pardon like simple possessions and use of marijuana, he pardoned or shortened the sentences of people convicted of other non-violent drug offenses, and pardoned approximately 2,000 like gay, lesbian, bisexual veterans who were convicted years ago just for being themselves. Oh yeah, the don't say gay, don't ask, don't tell policy. That's kind of good, honestly, because like I still have my issues with the military, and there's a lot of issues to have with the military, but there were a lot of people that happened to join the military probably because of the poverty draft. The poverty draft in order to get to college, because like joining the military for doing the military services sometimes is the only way for some people to be able to get like military, get a college degree and such. So that's why they join. But the fact that like a lot of like the gay, lesbians, and bisexuals were like imprisoned because they happen to be gay, lesbian, bisexuals, those, and in the military, that's like terrible. Or maybe because they happen to like act on homosexual acts, which according to like a viewer of mine over YouTube, Crusader Sam's, that is the sin. Not a sin to be homosexual, but it's a sin to commit homosexual acts. Okay, I don't see the difference, honestly. You're saying it's bad to be gay. But yeah, I know some like trans people that like serve in the military, and it's well at least something as well too. At least it gives them a job as well too. But I still have my issues with the military. Don't get me wrong, that. But like I wish, but no one should lend their Peltier. Because Leonard Peltier is a political prisoner. He's never getting a fair trial at all. I don't even think he was like there at like Wounded Knee when like some federal law enforcement agents and FBI agents were killed. So like he was like kind of the scapegoat or the patsy, and the guy that took the fall. And I think the others were arrested in those like crimes too. But Leonard Peltier was spuriously arrested, and he had no connections to Mold too, and never received a fair trial. Anyway, continuing. Democrats will take actions to expunge federal marijuana-only convictions. We will combat drug trafficking and expand the use of drug courts, interventions, and like the versions for people with substance use disorders. Yeah, no. Drug addiction and alcoholism is a medical addiction. So we got like treat people who uses drugs as not like necessarily criminals, but of like patients, of like sick people. And we got like a treat. We should treat honestly criminals with compassion too. But definitely drug addicts should be treated with compassion. Continuing, we will fund a new accelerated like a justice system reform grant program to provide jurisdictions with critical resources to foster communities like trust and safety, reduce inequity and justice system involved with an alternative like burdens on police. We will expand access to public defenders and to step up civil rights enforcement, including by boosting funding for the Democratic Justice Department's civil rights Civil Rights Division and hiring 15 new assistant U.S. attorneys. I wonder if they're going to do like DOI hires or diversity inclusion hires as well too. But let me continue on. Oh, it's the Democrats. Of course they do that. At least they'll be blamed for doing that by the Republicans. Because the Republicans are racist. Not saying the Democrats are not also racist too. Anyway, continue on. Not all Democrats, but like I'm sure a lot of them. Anyway, continue on. We remove barriers to legal access, combat hate crimes, and like counter cyber threats to keep children and teens safe outside the justice system. We will invest in like after-school programs, community centers, and summer jobs, and to ensure young people get like a second chance after like leaving the justice system. We will automatically seal and expel juvenile records. Juvenile records. I mean, yeah, I hope they do that because this goes a long way. Because if someone has like actually done a crime, I also agree with that. Like, no, you should be punished in some way for that sort of thing too. But it happened so long ago, and they haven't like done another crime since then. Not talking about simple drug possession, but I also agree with that. But like assault at one time because like someone said something about his girl or something like that, and so he punched a person as were too, and that sort of thing. But didn't kill the person. It was just assault, and like I think like that sort of like a record should not like carry someone like forever and that sort of thing too, especially when like happened like young, and that sort of thing too. So I do agree with like records being like sealed or like expunged for like certain offenses. Anyway, continue on. Democrats will end state-level use of like private prisons and detention centers, and will restrict state and local practices like solitary confinement, chokeholds, and restraints on pregnant inmates. We will guarantee access to medical care in prisons, and will eliminate profiteering, and from diversion, bail, electronic monitoring, conversations, and reentry programs. We will support rehabilitation and education, including college programs for inmates in prisons and after their release. To help returning citizens succeed upon their release, we will both access to transitional housing, affordable housing, mental health, and like substance use treatment. We will limit incarcerating people federally to only serious violations of like supervised release. We will work to expand the banned box so returning citizens can like more easily find work, protecting their right to work. Protect their right to vote. I would say all prisoners should be able to vote, if you ask me. But continuing on, protect their right to like public services like Pell Grants and nutritional assistance. No, yeah, it's like I said. I think I'm like Tabby Wolf has mentioned this on the past Social Alchemy episode, because Tabby Wolf has said that like that when she was like applying for like SNAP food stamps, well too, she in one place I think Arizona did have to be fingerprinted, so that like her fingerprints are on record. Why didn't? And she even asked why I need to be fingerprinted. And she said, and the person who seemed to be very nice said, "Oh, we don't want criminals to be access to this program." Again, it goes back to like, so if you're denying criminals, someone who had like a felony conviction as well, and yet they served the time, they're out in the jail. If you deny them access to food, access to housing, access to education, access to employment, what do you expect them to do other than like, go back to crime? Because what are the fucking choices they have? I'm trying to remember this, but also like this, yeah. I hope they eliminate the privateering. I doubt they'll do that. I'll believe it when I see it. Right now, this is all policies and a platform because, like, they're just saying it as well too, because they're like on campaigning to try to be reelected as well too. So I'll just kind of say that whenever, remember that sort of thing too, whenever talk about like all this sort of stuff. Because campaigns promises are a lot of talk, and it is a lot of talk, and so yeah, even though I say like I'll believe it when I see it, I trust it by the actions, not the words. That's why I don't hold them too highly for being hold them too highly and say, look at these policies. It's like, yeah, they're promises right now. I'll use this word too. I believe when I see it. But yet there's sometimes like is all talk because that's all they can do on the campaign is just like talk about it as well too. I hope they do that because there's too much like profiteering right now in the prison system as well too. It's just like a grift. It's just like such a successful grift. But then the people who are in prisons, I just like get like so swindled out of their money, to bury any little money that they get from that they earn from working in prison. It's like, I mean, it's like super expensive to be in poverty, so expensive to be in jail. And yet, like even access is like it's a con that like companies were able to do. Oh, because instead of like you being able to like have like a private time with your like a family to visit and visiting hours as well too. Oh, now there's just like no, it's a tablet you have, and then but the tablet is not gonna like be something that you own. It's something you lease, and then you have to pay money for lease it again and again and again. Like there's several like articles about this sort of thing too. I gotta do more research on it, but it's just horrible. All right, continue on. Trump's approach to criminal justice could not be more different. His administration threatened the federal prosecution for like marijuana cases in states where marijuana is legal. As president, Trump granted fewer clemency requests than nearly every president since it started in the 20th century. And many of these grants were reserved for like well-connected offenders and close friends and associates like Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Michael Flynn, and Charles Kushner. His administration cut supports for halfway houses and like decreased the number of federal prisons and sent to transitional housing, and it reinstated like contracts with private prison. I don't think those contracts with private prison went away once like Biden got into office either. I don't know if he even the campaign promise on that either.